is in a good spot. Because we see the microphone right here. I'm better. Step up game. If you got no lapel, like you ain't no big baller. 1 second, let me wipe this off a little bit. Hopefully that works. How's it going? How's it doing? How's it? Is that how we say it? How's it doing? How's it going? That's what I should have said. I mean, it's great. The brain got a funny way of working, especially when you've said certain phrases and certain words your whole life, and you're over 45 years old. You slightly augment that. You could at least I could hear it. I'm like, hold up, that didn't flow like how it normally did. That's why I said, how's it doing? No, how's it going? How's it going, everybody? Nobody's in here yet. They're gonna come in a second. Oh, let me share this. Let me share this Facebook. Let me share this Facebook real quick. Yeah, I'm back. Just had to share that to the book real quick. Hopefully, start getting some all eyes on me. We'll see. We shall see. Hey, man, I don't care if no eyes on me, man. Like anything, y'all just gonna watch me either now. You're gonna watch later on the replay or whatever. That's the only thing that matters. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm tired, man. I'm physically sleepy, y'all. Like I went to bed. It's crazy. I went to bed early. 10 p.m. was early for me. So when I go to bed at 10 p.m., the only problem is I naturally wake up like 4 hours later. So I was up like 2 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather go to bed later, like damn near midnight, wake up at like 4 in the morning, and then go back to bed for like another hour and a half, and then I get up for work. When I go to bed too early, I wake up too early in the middle of the night, and then everything is thrown off. You know what I mean? Gotta stay consistent. Hey, what up, Simply Deep, 1985? What's good, man? So, but yeah, you know what I mean? Work was good. You know, work is it's been kicking my behind these last few weeks on this new route. You say you're doing good. I'm doing good too, man. Just got off of work. You know what? If you got a phone and an internet service, that means your bill's being paid, and you have sight, and you can hear and see. So if all those things are happening at this moment, and you're looking at this phone, you know what I mean, and ain't no bombs dropping all around you and stuff like that, you're doing better than most of the people on this planet. So what's your content about, so I know what to ask you or bring? My content is this started off. I'm a stand-up comedian, so this started off as a place for me to practice my jokes. Like I would just drive home and I would recite jokes, and I used to do it on Facebook Live, and I would get like a lot of interaction. And on Facebook Live, you could bring people on, but it was just too glitchy. So I moved it over to YouTube. And the cool thing about Facebook Live, though, is I could have YouTube music playing, like some jazz playing in the background, but it's too glitchy. Try to be funny and tell jokes or what have you. And I still work out jokes to this day, but more or less, I'm just about sharing my thoughts and talking about philosophy, you know? Talking about philosophy. You know, I talk about just different perspectives of life, death, what happens when you die, the meaning of life, the things that you should strive for, how to remain stoic when certain things happen in life, and just not to take life too personal. You know, life is just an experience. Life isn't something that is happening in spite of you. Life is just an experience. But you said, yeah, I've been a stand-up comic. I just said 12 years. I'll be 13 years in January. January the 20th, I'll be 13 years. You asked me a lot of questions. It's like hypothetical question on people driving fast on his Springfield little 291. He says, how would you handle the type of embarrassing moment that'll get you clowned in your younger days? You gotta elaborate on that. Like, what type of embarrassing moment? You gotta give me a specific. You gotta give me a specific, man. because there's so many things, like you said, hypothetical. How would you handle the type of embarrassing moment that'll get you clowned in your younger days? Like if you peed the bed or something like that. The thing about being a stand-up comedian, especially my type, I'm a self-deprecating comic. I make fun of myself. So here's an example. Somebody came across your lady at the wrong time. After I secluded, okay, so they catch me doing my thing. I get what you're saying, and you're being clean about it. So you said, how do I handle that in real life? Like if I get caught smashing, how do I handle? Well, first thing I try to do is pull my pants up real quick. I'm at the age right now that my sexual desires ain't raging that much, where I gotta, oh snap, we gotta smash right now. I got the discipline to wait to get to a safe place before we do our thing, you know? But the first thing I would do is try to put my pants on as fast as possible. You know what I mean? That's what I would try to do. I mean, these are some strange times nowadays. You don't want to get caught out in that situation because anything can go wrong. Hopefully that's your lady, your significant other, you know, because things can always go bad in that instance. She get caught and be embarrassed. Now it's plausible deniability. It was your idea, you know? And that's if she don't want to be sinister. She could take it to a more sinister, you know, she could take it to a more sinister level. You know what I'm saying? But if I get caught, I never got caught in that situation because I was always, whenever I did those adult things in those secluded situations, I was always pretty careful when it came to that. You know? I was always pretty careful. It also depends on how far along in the act you are. Yeah, that's true. Plus the area you're at. That's why I said in your younger days. Like I said, it's hard for me to give an answer to a situation. I never got caught smashing. Like I would, oh snap! I would hear it. I always have my head on a swivel. That's why even doing stuff like that, unless you want to get caught, your head on a swivel so much, you know what I mean? You can't even really. The blood that should be in the lower head is the more blood is in your upper head, trying to be on point, trying to look around and make sure nobody pop up on you. You know what I mean? The boys, the popo pop up on you, man. That's a charge. If they want to be funny style, you know what I mean? So, but I'll say this: you can still talk about the story. It may not benefit you in the moment. But if you're a comedian or you're just a guy that's telling some funny stories, you definitely got some funny material, whether you tell it on stage or you tell it to your friends, tell it to your peoples. You know what I'm saying? You got, in the moment, it's scary, but looking back on it, you know, whenever we escape some type of dangerous situation or we overcome some embarrassing situation, a lot of times we can look back on things and just have a good laugh, you know, something to talk about. And maybe you going through that situation, you get the knowledge, you get that particular knowledge, and then you can relay that story or that experience to somebody that's more young and impressionable so that they don't go through what you went through. Maybe it was meant for you to go through that embarrassing moment so that you could tell other people, like Jay-Z said, Hov did that. So hopefully you don't have to go through that. You know what I mean? You went through it so somebody else doesn't have to go through it. He said, also depending on how unclothed and comfortable you are. Yeah, you know what I mean? But as an adult, like, you should, well, you said as a younger person, you should always have your own so that you're not worried about nothing like that, you know? Or if you're gonna do your thing in your car, go behind a Walmart. Go, you know what I mean? Go to a secluded, dark area, way in the cut, turn the lights off. You understand what I'm saying? And you gotta face the car in a way that's facing the entrance of the place. So you can see the lights, so if some cops, wherever coming, you got about 30 seconds to put everything and reclothe yourself. You know what I mean? So that hopefully it won't turn into a bad situation, man. And I appreciate you not swearing and speaking in code, because I'm definitely trying to keep this podcast on not squeaky clean, but definitely not profane and profanity laden. I've definitely evolved more into that. Although I do got my Dirty Thursdays where I tell dirty jokes. I might do that tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. I got a show tomorrow night. Thanks for your input. That areas like a car, the woods, or somebody's office. That's DEFCON 5, though. You trying to go in somebody's office and do it? Unless it's after hours, man. Anybody can run up in there unless you the boss and it's your office. Now, if you're the boss and it's your office, you know you violating, man, because you're in a position of power and influence, and that's probably the reason why the person want to sleep with you. You know what I mean? Because either A, they're trying to move up in the position, and they feel by giving their body they're going to move that position, or B, they feel intimidated, like if they don't do it, you're going to compromise their job. So either way, being a boss and having unclothed situations with your subordinates, I wouldn't advise that, man. Wouldn't advise that. And even in the after hours situation, like, you know, after hours at work, a lot of these jobs, they be having janitors that got all the keys. So you hear the keys jingling, you know what I'm saying? You doing your thing, with the clothes off, it's mad loud, whatever. You don't hear the cheese jingling, and all of a sudden Gus unlocked the door and see both of y'all. Now Gus, whoa, now Gus see the whole situation, and Gus, he only get minimum wage. He was looking for a come up. So he seen your whole unclothed activities as a come up. So you could either pay Gus for his silence, and it's probably going to be extortion because he's going to hold it over you for a while. So you got to pay him continually, or you got to give him some buns. You got to give Gus some buns to be quiet. And then the title of this podcast is consistency. Stay consistent. You're going to have to stay consistent with that payment to Gus, because as soon as you break Gus's payment, he telling, man, you getting fired. And then when he telling you, I saw Simply Deep going deep in the secretary, and I got the pictures. I took a couple of pictures of it before. I had a little video because I had on these glasses, and these was the Meta glasses. He didn't even realize, but I got the whole thing on tape, and so I told him it was wrong. So Gus got the whole tape on Meta glasses. He gonna tell human resources, and then usually when it's a situation like that, man and woman having unclothed activities, and they both get caught in the act, the woman always blames the man somehow. Somehow he's my boss. Well, if you're the boss, it is your fault, but he's the one that orchestrated it, even though it's consensual, but she gonna spin it in a negative way just to save her behind. Now you're losing your job. You got embarrassment with the community. You might get charges, all kinds of stuff, man. All because you weren't consistent with being a professional, You said, so how long you been doing YouTube content? I've had a YouTube channel since 2005. I started doing YouTube videos, I want to say like 2009 or something like that. But I was never really consistent. I was never really good at it. This is the most consistent I've been with my YouTube content in years. Like, a lot of times I'll go hard for a few weeks, a couple months, and I stop. Go hard for a couple months and stop. The reason why I'm so consistent with this is because I do it while I'm driving. I do it on the commute home. You know what I mean? And I got to drive Monday through Friday. I have to drive home. I'm in the car for at least 45 minutes on the road. I figure instead of being a consumer of content all the time, why not be a creator? You know what I mean? So, but I had my channel since 2005, but I wasn't consistent with creation. Like, I didn't really start making my videos probably till like 2008. But like I said, it wasn't consistent, and a lot of it was just because I used to be a poet, so I would record the poems, and then I would just upload it to the channel. I had no direction, no guidance. I got a little more understanding of it now, but it's crazy because once I figured out, what YouTube was, and once I saw all the people that was getting monetized, before they had, it wasn't as many stringent parameters to get your channel monetized so you could make money off of it. You just had to have, I think, 1,000 subscribers. That was it. But now it's like you need 1,000 subscribers. You need 4,000 hours watched within a year. You know, they just made it way more difficult because they gave away so much money, man. So I've been trying, and before I would always drop videos, but I would never use a thumbnail. Now I'm using thumbnails. I'm titling the videos in number sequence. I do it Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. every day. If you look at my YouTube analytics within the past 30 days, it's skyrocketed in comparison to what it's been doing in the past 5 years. So I'm doing something right, but I should have kept up with it's all about staying consistent. That's what this program is about. This today's topic. If I would have kept up with my consistency, who knows where I would have been, you know, because the goal is to be a full-time stand-up comedian. That's obviously the goal. But most comedians that you see that are full-time, they're only getting paid gigs like between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 3 nights. Maybe Sundays, sometimes early in the week, whatever. So out of them 4 gigs or whatever, 4 to 6 gigs a weekend, unless you like a bona fide national headliner where you're getting 1 gig on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. But let's say 5 or 6 gigs a week, you still need other ways to make money. Social media gives money hand over fist if you got a following. So you want to make sure your social media is on point. You understand what I'm saying? And then they do, a lot of us, I haven't gotten to the point yet, but we do cruise ships. I've done a lot of private gigs. I want to get on cruises and all that. So I want to master the social media aspect. So that is another revenue stream, which can help me cut down my day job work. The more I can cut back on the day job, the more I can focus on my artistry and creativity. You know, because I ain't trying to be the star. I'm not trying to be the starving artist that's starving, sleeping out of my car, being homeless and all that. No, I've been doing this 12 or 13 years. I command a pretty decent pay. It's just about getting more gigs. I've done the 10,000 hours of the basics of being a stand-up comic. I got that, even though I'm not being too funny right now. But if you was watching my whole program, I was being funny earlier. But I got the basics. I have an act. I'm doing a gig tomorrow night in Weathersfield. I'm headlining over the weekend. And no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got a gig tomorrow night in Weathersfield. Then Friday and Saturday, I got another gig at another spot in Weathersfield. But I'm headlining both of those nights. And then May 9th, I'm headlining at Nick's Comedy Stop in Boston, Massachusetts. You know what I mean? So I got some stuff popping, but it needs to be more. Like I'm going to get to the point where every weekend I'm headlining like 4 or 5 spots. I know it's going to get to that point. I just have to promote myself more, and more eyes have to be on me, and I have to be more consistent with promoting myself. It's all about consistency, man. Every night when I get home, I prepare lunch for the next day. If I don't, I'm going to be late for work. So I get all the little knickknacks and stuff that I'm going to eat for lunch. I prepare that at night. You understand what I'm saying? Take my shower or whatever. Once I get into bed, I try to do at least one Instagram reel and upload it. And that Instagram reel, I share it to my Facebook reels. And I haven't been doing this, but I need to share it to TikTok more. TikTok be mad toxic though, you know what I'm saying? And they don't let me really, they censor me way too much. But hey, it is what it is. Say la vie. But it's all about being consistent. I need to consistently, once I upload that, that's one, you don't gotta upload a lot of stuff. It's just about being consistent. And it's like, I'll go hard and do reels like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and then I'll just stop. Like I'll do like 4 or 5 reels in one day for 3 or 4 days. But it takes a lot of concentration, it takes a lot of work. Then I'll stop. So it makes more sense just that one reel. Copy and paste all your hashtags, put it in your TikTok, put it in your Instagram. I don't really use Twitter, but hey, I'll start dropping it to that too. But make the master one on Instagram and then share it to all the other ones, man. Reduplicate it to the other one and just keep doing that. The algorithm rewards consistency. That's one thing I'm definitely noticing. The algorithm rewards staying consistent. It's crazy how, you know, I didn't even know how I was going to talk about staying consistent. The angle I had some ideas, but I appreciate you, Simply Deep, 1985. Pause. you know what? I'm not gonna say pause to that because you could be like simply deep. You talk about the mental, even though your first question was about unclothed activities. But you know what? I like that Simply Deep 1985. There's a group called Simply Red. They say, holding back the years from falling, I'll keep holding on. So that's Simply Red, and you're Simply Deep. Born in 1985. My little sister was born in 1985. That's a good year, man. I think that year, let's see if my memory skills are good. 1985, I think 1984, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom came out. 1984, I think Terminator Part 1 came out. But 1985 was the Goonies. And I remember the Goonies. The Goonies came out in 1985. I can't remember. I think one of the police academies came out in 1985. Like, those are two things that really, really stand out in my head. The movie Mannequin, that didn't come out until like 1987. Like Mannequin, Short Circuit, I think 3 O'Clock High. It was a lot of dope 80s movies that came out in like 1987, you know? Yeah, but just stay consistent. Anything positive that you're trying to do in life, it's not about just going hard, doing like a crash diet or just like some P90X fitness regimen for a week and overkilling yourself. It's all about consistent, gradual elevation. You could try to build a house in one day, or you could just slowly, gradually do it over time. Yeah, you could probably build a house in one day, but it's going to be shaky. It's not going to be up to code. It might collapse on itself. All because you was rushing, or you rushing. Not that you was a Bolshevik. That joke was corny, I know. But if you take the time to build the house, you know, you'll give like a nice, strong foundation. It'll be able to hold up to the elements and the weather. It'll be nice, warm and cozy. You know what I mean? And a place that you're proud to show to people, all because you showed the patience and the consistency to build it up properly. Got to build yourself up the same way. Just be consistent, man. Just be consistent. Like me, I don't write on paper. I don't write my jokes on paper no more. I just write bullet points and I kind of riff off the bullet points. But when I used to write on paper, I was consistent every time. You know what I'm saying? Before I got on stage to do stand up, I would write like 4 or 5. I would never look at my notes, but I would write 4 or 5 bullet points on the page, and it would be locked in my brain. Now I don't even need to do that no more. Like I know my material. I know my set list so much. I know different set lists. I don't even have to do that, but mentally I still have to consistently go through that. Okay, tonight I'm gonna talk about this, and this. You know, that's the consistency that I do when I approach that stage. Usually I take a nap before I do stand up, you know, before I have a show. It's something about just taking that nap before the show. I'm consistent with that. What other consistent things? Every Wednesday night, because I stay over my girl's house, and I don't think she doesn't do like bread and stuff like that. So a lot of times she won't have a lot of food that I like for lunch. So every Wednesday I stop at a supermarket, you know what I mean, just to get a couple of items for my lunch for the next day. Staying consistent. It's all about consistency. Listen, familiarity breeds contempt. I say consistency breeds success. I was going to say perfection, but I think perfection is too great of a word, you know. Just stay consistent. You got any new regimens or maybe you want to write a page a day. Maybe you want to start reading more, but you know, like me, I'm a terrible reader, man. Like I get sleepy, I got bad eyes, you name it. Anything that can hinder or limit you with the reading, that's me, yo. But if I want to get back into the reading, instead of trying to read a whole book, 300 or 400 page book in a day or two, just be consistent. 2 pages here, you know what I'm saying? 2 pages a day, like that's nothing. 2 pages a day is 60 pages a month. And 5 months, that's a 300-page book. And the thing about reading is the more you do it, you train your eye muscles, you train yourself, and your comprehension gets better, your visualization of what you're reading gets better, and you start to naturally read faster. You know the book is a good book when you no longer see the words and you only see the images. That's when you know it's a good book. You know how back in, like, for those that are old enough to remember, back in like the mid 90s, late 90s, they had those weird pictures. They would be like a whole bunch of dots. And if you stare at it enough, your brain kind of like figures it out and makes the image pop out of whatever it is. I think the same mechanics are working when you're reading a book. And just like you no longer see the dots, you see the actual image because your brain deciphers it. The same thing happens when you're reading a book. Your brain no longer tells you that you're reading words. You're just starting to visualize and see everything that's happening. And you don't even realize you're reading words anymore. So I would like to. I'm gonna get back to that point. I'm gonna get back to. This is my challenge to myself. I want to get back into reading. So every night, just 2 pages, nothing crazy, just 2 pages. You know what I'm saying? I start with the book, like the book open like this. So when I read one page, I can flip it over. Bam. The next day, one page, flip it over. And here's the beauty of it. If I read the 2 pages and it's good, like a minimum of 2 pages. If I read the 2 pages and it's good, I'm gonna keep turning the pages. And if I read the 2 pages and it didn't really catch me like that, hey, I still read 2 pages. So at the minimum, at that pace, I got 60 pages knocked down within a month. But if it's a dope book, man, I might peel the book. I might, it's been times when I was really into reading, and I'm a slow reader, but it's been times where I peel off like 150, almost 200 pages in 1 hour. I've done it. But I was so locked in, I was so focused, and I was enjoying it so much, I was no longer seeing the words. I was seeing the images. You know what I mean? It was like the Matrix, man. It's definitely, I feel like when you get into that, it's called a flow state. When you get into that flow state, it's almost like you hypnotize it. It's like hypnosis, man. Like when I know I'm reading, I can feel myself reading. Like it's boring. When I just start seeing the images and I'm no longer reading, even me thinking about it, it's exciting to get to that point, but it's difficult to get to that point, especially if you haven't done it in a long, especially if you were consistent in the opposite way, not reading. You were being consistent with not reading. Consistency in things, positive things can build you up. Consistency in negative things can break you down. It works both ways. It's like it's literally like the XY axis on a number. You know what I'm saying? You got 0, and you got 1 to infinity this way. You got 0, and you got 1 to negative infinity that way. It's all about your energy. Whatever consistent energy you put in will determine where you are on that crosshair. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to be on the positive side of that crosshair, yo. I'm not even trying. I'm doing it. Tonight, just 2 pages. I'm not even going to think about it. Bam. I'm just going to do it. That has to be a part of the regimen. Just like for years, I never brushed my teeth at night. I was never conditioned to do that. But then I had to get a wisdom tooth pulled. And something told me, like, listen, man, you eating all this food and stuff all day. You gotta take care of them chompers, man. You're gonna lose more teeth. Since I started brushing at night, flossing more consistently, teeth stopped falling out. Imberek said what? Yeah. I would use like mouthwash or something like that at night, but I wouldn't brush. You know what I'm saying? Terrible, terrible habit. But I was consistently conditioned to be that way, you know? So just stay consistent, man. Whether you're creating content, whether you're working on your fitness, being on time at your job, giving positive affirmations to yourself, giving positive affirmations to others, doing a little research, whatever it is that's going to build you up in a positive way, just consistently do it daily on a small level, and I assure you, you'll see dividends. You may not see it immediately. When you look at a tree, trees take a long ass time to grow. But if trees were impatient, we would have no trees on this planet. Observe a tree. The tree is the most patient thing on this planet, and it slowly grows, but it has strong, strong roots that it gives us oxygen. You know what I mean? We use it for wood and all types of things that benefit us. Observe a tree, man. Be as patient and as consistent as a tree. I'm not saying you gotta be as slow, but just be consistent. Just be consistent, man. Hey, that's pretty much all I wanted to say, man. I had a good time. As I tell all my young, up and coming, impressionable comedians, there is no such thing as writer's block. If the comedy gods have not given you anything new to create, that is their way of telling you to work out and perfect the things that they already gave you. Stay away from the gossip, stay away from the rumors, stay away from the nonsense, stay away from the foolishness, stay away from the negativity. Lead with love. Life is not something that is happening in spite of you. Life is an experience to behold. With that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Dirty Thursdays. I'm telling all dirty jokes tomorrow. We just doing stand-up tomorrow, just dirty jokes. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Dirty Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube Live. Not Facebook Live, but I mean, I share it to my Facebook. YouTube Live. Hey, man, stay consistent. I'll holler at y'all. Deuces.